Hi, welcome to the Movie Recap Spot Movie Recap channel. The movie we'll be discussing today is Captain America: Brave New World, released in 2025. This film tells the story of Sam Wilson's first mission as Captain America, where he must stop the threat of a world war. The movie stars Anthony Mackie, Harrison Ford, and Danny Ramirez. The film begins with General Thaddeus Ross becoming the President of the United States. This sparks controversy among the public, as Ross was previously involved in the super soldier serum research, which led to the creation of Hulk and Abomination. His relationship with his daughter Betty Ross, Bruce Banner's former lover, has also become strained due to his past actions. To prove himself, Ross imprisons a scientist responsible for the Hulk and Abomination incident. 5 months later, Sam Wilson, now Captain America, is assigned to stop the illegal trade of dangerous weapons by the terrorist group Serpent Society. He is assisted by his partner, Joaquin Torres, who monitors from an aircraft. Equipped with wings and a vibranium shield, Sam takes on the Serpent Society's forces outside a church. Torres's drone detects that the group's leader, Volker, is inside the church holding hostages. As Sam enters, Volker orders his men to escape with the dangerous weapon package. Sam fights against the Serpent Society members blocking his way. Torres reports that the weapon package is being taken away and asks for permission to pursue it. Sam grants permission. Meanwhile, Sam confronts Volker, but Volker's men attack him with considerable strength. The U.S. military, led by Dennis, arrives to assist. Wearing his Falcon suit, Torres chases down the Serpent Society members carrying the weapon package. After an intense battle, Torres successfully secures the package. Inside the church, Sam senses something is off since the buyer of the weapon never shows up. Dennis suggests that the buyer may have already known that Captain America would raid the location. Sam then orders Dennis to track Volker, who has escaped. Torres then came to report that he had also successfully completed his mission. He asked if he was now worthy of becoming Falcon as Captain America's assistant. Sam then invited Torres to meet his martial arts teacher so that he could become more skilled in combat. The next day, Sam took Torres to meet his mentor, Isaiah Bradley. Isaiah Bradley was one of the soldiers who became a victim of the super soldier serum experiment. He once held the title of Captain America before Steve Rogers. Bradley trained Sam to become very strong, even though Sam himself never received the super soldier serum injection. In the middle of training, Sam's phone rang. It was a call from the president, requesting Sam and Torres to attend a meeting at the White House. Upon hearing that Sam had received a call from the president, Bradley looked upset. Bradley was upset because Sam was now following President Ross, who, back when he was a general, had imprisoned him for 30 years. Ross was also the one who created the Sokovia Accords, which divided the Avengers and turned Sam, Steve Rogers, and Black Widow into fugitives. Bradley didn't want Sam to bow down to someone like Ross. Sam reassured Bradley, saying that the country was in turmoil. Even though they knew Ross had a dark past, he might have changed. Sam assured that if Ross ever crossed the line again, he himself would stop him. Sam then said that in the phone call, he agreed to go to the White House, but only on the condition that Bradley was also invited. That night, Sam, Torres, and Bradley arrived at the White House. The president's aide invited Sam to meet President Ross privately in a room. Ross praised Sam's abilities and his dedication to helping the country. Ross apologized if he had done things in the past that Sam and his friends did not approve of. Now that Sam was the new Captain America, Ross wanted him to rebuild the Avengers, which had disbanded. Sam was confused because it was Ross who had proposed the Sokovia Accords, which led to the Avengers breaking apart. Ross stated that he had changed and now realized that humanity greatly needed the Avengers. Moments later, the press conference began. In front of world leaders, Ross began his speech. He stated that years ago, a giant celestial corpse emerged in the Indian Ocean. Inside the celestial's corpse, a powerful new mineral was discovered. This mineral could be used for technological advancements, healthcare, and advanced military weaponry. This mineral was even stronger than vibranium, which was currently controlled by the Kingdom of Wakanda. This valuable mineral was called Adamantium. Some time ago, The first adamantium sample was successfully extracted by a laboratory in Japan. However, it was stolen by a terrorist group called the Serpent Society. Fortunately, Sam as Captain America and Torres as Falcon bravely managed to retrieve the adamantium. In this meeting, Ross wanted to invite other nations to sign an agreement so that adamantium could be mined fairly and evenly. In the middle of the speech, a strange song suddenly played. Bradley immediately stood up and seized a guard's weapon. Bradley immediately shot at Ross, but fortunately, the shot missed. Sam tried to stop Bradley, but Bradley easily threw him aside. Several people there also started shooting at Ross. The situation turned chaotic. Sam and Torres quickly took down those disrupting the meeting. Sam then chased Bradley, who ran away and jumped out of a window. In the middle of the street, Sam ordered Bradley to stop. Strangely, Bradley asked what was happening. Bradley seemed to have lost his memory. Bradley eventually surrendered and was taken into custody. Sam then entered the security bunker to meet Ross, who was there with a security advisor named Ruth. Sam felt something was off about the shooting incident. Ruth reported that 5 people, including Bradley, attempted to carry out the shooting during the press conference. According to Ruth, the attack was a coordinated terrorist assault. Before the attack, they all heard a strange song. That song was likely a signal to carry out the attack. Sam then mentioned that before being arrested, Bradley appeared to have lost his memory and had no recollection of the incident. Sam wanted to investigate further, but Ross forbade him. Ross instructed Sam to stay out of this case. Ross said he would assign Ruth to investigate the case. After Sam and Ruth left, a visibly panicked Ross took a pill. In short, Bradley was eventually sentenced to death. Sam immediately visited Bradley in prison. Sam asked why Bradley attacked Ross. Bradley replied that he didn't remember anything. The only thing he recalled from being in the White House was that his phone malfunctioned before Ross's press conference. After that, Bradley remembered nothing. Suddenly, he found himself running in the streets before being arrested. Bradley regretted coming to the White House if this was how it would end. An angry Bradley told Sam to leave. Elsewhere, Ruth had recorded Sam and Bradley's conversation through CCTV on the streets. Sam ordered Torres to hack the White House CCTV footage before the shooting occurred. Sam suspected that something had brainwashed Bradley, forcing him to act beyond his control. Torres then noticed something suspicious right before the press conference. He saw Bradley's phone flashing repeatedly. He also noticed that the phones of the other 4 attackers were flashing as well. Elsewhere, Ruth, who was analyzing the CCTV footage, saw the same thing. A suspicious Sam theorized that this might be connected to their mission to seize adamantium in Mexico. It was possible that the adamantium buyer deliberately didn't show up and allowed them to seize it so that President Ross could hold the press conference. Sam then instructed Torres to investigate the background of the security advisor named Ruth. Suddenly, Volker opened fire on Sam's car and threw a bomb, causing the car to explode. Sam managed to survive and immediately attacked Volker. After disarming Volker, Sam ordered him to reveal who bought the adamantium. Instead of answering, Volker fired at Sam again with a concealed gun. Sam quickly took cover to protect himself. While searching for Sam, Volker said that the adamantium buyer had paid him double to let Sam take the adamantium. Sam then threw a knife and knocked Volker unconscious. Suddenly, Volker's phone rang. It was the adamantium buyer. Strangely, the person seemed to already know that Sam would defeat Volker. Inside the security bunker, Ross tried to persuade the presidents of France and India to sign the Adamantium Cooperation Agreement to prevent a war over the resource. However, since the Japanese Prime Minister was absent from the meeting, the 2 leaders hesitated. They stated they would only sign if Japan also agreed to it. A panicked Ross ordered his team to prepare a plane. He planned to go to Japan himself to persuade the Prime Minister. After returning to his base, Sam ordered Torres to track the last call from Volker's phone. Sam was convinced that the adamantium buyer was behind all the chaos. Torres then informed him that a security advisor named Ruth was a former Widow spy, just like Black Widow. While reviewing CCTV footage, Sam was confused because Bradley hadn't aimed his gun at Ross. Sam wondered why the person controlling Bradley's mind hadn't ordered him to kill Ross outright. Torres then located the last caller of Volker. The call came from a place called Camp Eco 1, a secret military prison, deep in the jungle. Sam told Torres to get ready. They would head there immediately. Elsewhere, Ruth went to the prison to meet Bradley. There, Ruth saw a guard strangely start shooting at prisoners before turning the gun on himself. From the guard's communication device, Ruth heard the same song that played just before the White House shooting. Aboard the plane, President Ross received a call. The caller was the Adamantium buyer, who was currently inside Camp Eco 1. Ross panicked as he recognized the voice. It belonged to the person he had imprisoned years ago. Previously, Ross had promised to release this person in exchange for helping him win the election. But after winning, Ross broke his promise. Ross realized that this person was behind all the chaos. The person threatened to destroy Ross's life for breaking the promise. Inside the prison, Bradley had survived the shooting. Ruth quickly placed him in isolation for protection, knowing that someone wanted him dead. Ruth then received a call from President Ross, instructing her to go to Camp Eco 1 immediately because a prisoner had escaped. That night, Sam and Torres, who had arrived at Camp Eco 1, sneaked in. Sam saw an open prison door. Someone must have escaped. Sam and Torres then entered a room that resembled a laboratory. There, Sam saw a list of names of people who had been victims of the super soldier serum experiments. Bradley was one of them. Sam also found President Ross's medical records. Inside, there was a prescription for the medication Ross had to take. Sam then took a sample of the medication. In Japan, Ross attempted to persuade the Japanese Prime Minister to sign an Adamantium cooperation agreement. However, the Japanese Prime Minister firmly refused. He instead accused Ross of playing games with them, as Japanese intelligence had found evidence that the CIA was behind the theft of Japan's adamantium samples. The US must want to control the adamantium for themselves. Hearing this, Ross became furious. If the US was responsible, he wouldn't have sent Captain America to reclaim the adamantium. However, the Japanese Prime Minister remained indifferent and refused to sign the cooperation agreement. Inside Camp Eco 1, Torres discovered research files about a method to control human minds using just a flash of light from a phone. In those notes, there was mention of a strange song that had played before the White House shooting. The song served as a trigger, causing affected individuals to move involuntarily. Sam then watched a recording of a scientist named Dr. Stearns. Suddenly, a mysterious figure appeared from behind, calling Sam's name. That person was Dr. Stearns. Sam then realized that Stearns was the mastermind behind the adamantium theft and the White House shooting. Sam asked why Stearns had done all of this. Stearns then revealed his true form. He said this was revenge against Ross, who had once imprisoned him in this place. When Stearns created Abomination, his head was accidentally exposed to gamma radiation. That radiation exposure made him incredibly intelligent. He could calculate future events with extreme precision. However, instead of helping Stearns, Ross exploited his abilities to secure his position as President of the United States. Ross had promised to free Stearns in return, but after Ross became president, he broke his promise. As revenge, Stearns vowed to make Ross suffer. Sam urged Stearns to stop this madness because innocent people, like Bradley, were suffering as a result. However, Stearns instead questioned why Sam was still defending Ross. After all, Ross knew Bradley was innocent, but still punished him. As Sam was about to attack Stearns, he activated an ultrasonic device that rendered Sam helpless. A group of brainwashed soldiers then arrived to attack Sam and Torres, while Stearns escaped. After an intense battle, Sam and Torres finally managed to defeat all the soldiers. As they stepped outside, another group of soldiers blocked their path. From behind, Ruth, who had just arrived, ordered the soldiers to stop. However, the brainwashed soldiers turned against Ruth instead. Surprisingly, Ruth managed to take down all the soldiers by himself. It turns out that Ruth already knew that Stearns was behind all of this. Outside, the FBI troops arrived to arrest Sam and Torres. As Ruth tried to persuade the FBI troops to release Sam, a strange brainwashing song suddenly played. The song caused the FBI troops to lose consciousness. Sam, Torres, and Ruth immediately got into a car to escape. Elsewhere, Ross received a report that Japan was deploying its military ships toward the remains of the Celestial to seize Adamantium for their own country. Upon hearing this report, Ross suddenly became furious and slammed the table. He immediately ordered the deployment of warships to intercept the Japanese forces at the Celestial wreck as soon as possible. Somewhere else, Sam met Dennis at a secret military base. Torres immediately used a computer there to find a way to counter Stern's mind control device. Torres then played the mind-controlling song and observed everyone in the room. It turned out that no one had been affected by it. Sam then asked Dennis to find someone who could analyze the drug he obtained at Camp Echo 1. Sam then met with Volker, who was being held there. Sam asked Volker to reveal Stan's true plan. Volker agreed, but on one condition: his sentence had to be reduced. Sam immediately agreed to the deal. Volker then revealed that Stearns had deliberately ordered him to steal adamantium from the Japanese. Stearns paid him using CIA funds. This would make Japan suspicious and reject a cooperation agreement with the U.S. to manage adamantium. In other words, Stearns was orchestrating a conflict between Japan and the U.S. to reignite a war over adamantium. Sam immediately gathered his team to meet President Ross and inform him about Stearns' plan. Dennis then said that President Ross was currently leading the troops on a warship preparing for battle against the Japanese forces at the Celestial wreck. In short, Sam and Torres quickly flew to the Celestial wreck in the Indian Ocean. Ruth also arrived at the location using a helicopter. Upon arriving on the ship, Sam immediately met Ross in the control room and asked for a private conversation. Sam then informed Ross that Stearns had stolen adamantium using CIA funds. Stearns was also the mastermind behind the chaos at the White House. He intentionally instigated a conflict to push America into a war with Japan. Upon hearing this, Ross couldn't believe it. How could Stearns, who was in prison, orchestrate all of this? Sam then explained that when he raided Camp Echo 1, he discovered that Stearns had mind-controlling technology. Sam also found Ross's medical records inside Camp Echo 1. He noticed records showing that Ross frequently visited the facility. Sam began to suspect that Ross had known about all of this from the beginning. Ross immediately denied it and refused to answer Sam's questions. But after persistent questioning, Ross finally admitted that he was dying. He had a fatal heart condition. Ross had asked Stearns for help in creating a drug that could prolong his life. In return, Ross promised to free Stearns. But Ross realized that he could never free Stearns, as someone had to take responsibility for the devastation caused by Hulk and Abomination. Ross wants his daughter to know that her father is not a bad person. Ross did not expect that his actions would make Stearns go this far. A soldier then reported that 2 American fighter jets had just fired missiles at the Japanese fleet. Everyone panicked. They could not contact the 2 fighter pilots attacking the Japanese fleet. Sam and Torres realized that the 2 pilots must have had their minds controlled by Stearns. Sam and Torres requested permission to stop the 2 jets. They immediately flew to intercept them. Meanwhile, 2 Japanese jets fired counter-missiles. Fortunately, Sam and Torres managed to divert them. Sam then successfully cut off the wing of one of the rogue American jets and ejected the pilot to safety. After that, Sam chased the second American jet. However, the jet fired 2 missiles at him. As Torres attempted to stop the missiles, he was hit by an explosion and fell. Sam quickly called the rescue team to help Torres while he ejected the other brainwashed pilot. Sam then took control of the falling jet to prevent it from crashing into a ship. The Japanese forces eventually stopped their attack after realizing this was a misunderstanding. The war was successfully prevented. Torres, who was in critical condition, was immediately taken to the hospital. Bucky then visited Sam, who was checking on Torres. Sam confided in Bucky that he did not feel worthy of being Captain America. He felt like a failure because Steve Rogers had managed to defeat an alien invasion while he struggled against mere psychotic humans. Sam felt guilty because one of his friends was in prison, while the other was critically injured. Because of this, Sam began considering taking the super soldier serum to protect everyone. Bucky warned that the super soldier serum was not the answer. Even Steve Rogers, despite all his strength, still couldn't protect everyone he loved. Steve chose Sam as Captain America, not because he was the strongest, but because he had a kind heart and never gave up. Bucky then bid farewell as he had matters to attend to. At the White House, President Ross held a press conference regarding the previous incident. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Stearns approached Sam, who was alone. Stearns intentionally came to surrender. Sam stated that he understood Stearns' real goal was not to start a war between America and Japan, but to tarnish Ross's reputation. Stearns admitted it, but revealed another reason. Ross had turned him into a monster, and now he would return the favor. Stearns had given Ross a drug containing gamma radiation, which would turn him into a monster. Sam was shocked upon hearing this. At that moment, the military arrived and arrested Stearns. Stearns warned that Sam would not be able to defeat Ross. At the White House, journalists received news that Stearns had surrendered and revealed that he once worked for Ross. Suddenly, a recording of Stearns' voice played over the speakers, exposing Ross's betrayal. The situation grew more chaotic. Security urged Ross to retreat to a safe room, but he insisted on clarifying the situation. However, something strange suddenly happened to Ross's body. He began transforming into Red Hulk. Ross, who has now lost consciousness, goes on a rampage. The officers try to shoot him, but it's useless. Ross keeps raging. Sam then arrives. He tries to stop Ross, but Ross, who is extremely strong, continues his rampage, destroying the White House. The military then opens fire on Ross, but this only makes him angrier. Sam protects the soldiers from Ross's wrath. Sam lures Ross into chasing him to a safer location. Ross relentlessly attacks Sam over and over. Sam gets frustrated, realizing that Bucky's advice was useless. He thinks he should have taken the super soldier serum to deal with situations like this. Sam can only defend himself using his armor as Ross pummels him. He then fires a bomb from his wings, causing a massive explosion that sends Ross flying. Moments later, Ross gets back up, even though his armor is completely destroyed. Sam gathers his courage and moves forward. Seeing Ross injured, Sam tries to bring him back to his senses. He reminds Ross that he wanted to show his daughter Betty that he has changed and is no longer the same villain he once was. As cherry blossoms float around, Ross remembers his daughter. He finally regains his senses and reverts to his human form. The officers immediately take him away as he falls unconscious. In short, Sam later visits Bradley, who is now free of all charges. Bradley thanks Sam for saving him. Sam then goes to the special prison for superhumans located in the middle of the ocean. He visits Ross, who is being held there. Sam respects Ross's decision to step down as president and surrender himself to take responsibility for what happened. Sam then informs Ross that Japan has agreed to sign the Adamantium Management Cooperation agreement thanks to Ross's perseverance. It turns out Sam didn't come alone. He brought Ross's daughter, Betty, to visit him. Ross is overjoyed to finally reunite with his daughter. Sam then visits Torres, who has regained consciousness. Torres apologizes, feeling like he's not as strong as Sam. Sam reassures Torres not to worry. It's only a matter of time, and one day, Torres will become a strong Falcon. Sam tells Torres to get ready because they will be rebuilding the Avengers. Sam then meets Stearns in prison. Stearns tells him that if he feels satisfied for saving the world, he should still be careful. Based on Stearns' calculations after observing the recent multiverse fractures, he senses that a massive attack from another world is coming to threaten Earth. And so, the storyline of Captain America, Brave New World, comes to an end. Hope you enjoyed this storyline. If you have any interesting thoughts or theories, drop them in the comments.